have Coach Ross Pryor. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
Yeah, no problem at all. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Coach Pryor, he is the head football coach at Wellington High School down near South Palm Beach, Florida. So to kick things off, Coach, can you just share with the audience a little bit about yourself and how you've gotten into your current role being only 27 years old?
Yeah, so I played football. I grew up in Texas. I grew up there. Went to high school in Houston. I got a chance to go to a school in Oklahoma to get a scholarship there called Southern Nazarene. My first year I was there, I ended up getting hurt, so I ended up transferring. And then from there, I went to Carson Newman, which is in Tennessee, small Division II school. Then from there, I had a coach of mine that was I was graduated. I was trying to get into the coaching business. My wife was ended up going down to Palm Beach to be in pharmacy school. And I was like trying to get away to be in Florida. And my coach of mine asked me to come down there and be the defensive coordinator for him. And I said, of course, first year being out of college, have a chance to be a defensive coordinator. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm doing it. So I went down to Lake Placid, which is in Central Florida, about an hour and a half south of Orlando. Did that for a year. Then I had an opportunity to get closer to my wife and be in West Palm. And I went to Wellington High School when I was there. And I was the defensive line coach and the special teams coordinator my first year. And then my coach that year had to leave, so I was had a new head coach come in, and he offered me the job to be the defensive coordinator. And I was also defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator the last 2 years. Then he ended up leaving as well, and I kind of stepped in. I said, "Hey, I want to be the head coach." I applied for it, met with the principals and everything, and here I am, 4 years into coaching, and I'm a first-year head coach, and I'm loving it so far. So
Nice. So how would you say your playing experience helped you get into coaching?
For me, I was always kind of the old head. I was always a student of the game. I wouldn't say I was always the fastest guy or the strongest guy, but I definitely knew what I was doing. I knew where to be, knew where to be defensively. I knew what the defensive line was doing. I knew what the DBs were doing in the secondary. So that kind of led me into coaching and being a defensive coordinator first off. And that kind of really helped me understand how it works, how offenses attack defenses, how good offenses operate. And I was under Coach Larry Slade, who was my defensive coordinator in college, and he really taught me a lot. He was a defensive coordinator at Tennessee, at Louisville, so he really is kind of what the reason why I think that I know or how I am as a coach is because of what he taught me, and to where he kind of led me into being a overall rounded defensive coordinator and defensive minded guy. And then now I'm going more in towards the offensive side of the ball this year, and just kind of developing myself as I go. And I'm always trying to learn. My thing is right as a coach. I think if you're a coach who thinks you know it all, you're definitely going to be someone who's going to be behind the ball because I'm always learning, and I'm always trying to find different ways to better myself and the team that I have around me.
Yeah. And what position were you in college?
I played DN slash like outside linebacker. So I rushed the passer, and I also had a little bit of coverages as well. So definitely that helped me in knowing both sides, both the back end and the front seven or front eight, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously being only 4 years in the coaching and a head coach, how's that experience been so far?
It's good. I mean, this year, man, I've been through a lot. Like I said, I had a bunch of kids transfer out whenever I first was hired. Unfortunately, that kind of for me, I mean, I was there for 4 years, so I was like, man, like what did I do wrong, kind of thing. But it's been a whirlwind, really has. I had to build a whole new staff. My office coordinator, about 3 games in, I had to let him go. And it's been a rough one, but it's definitely been one with a lot of learning experiences, and I think I'm going to be set for the remainder of my coaching career based off this first year. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely sounds like you got thrown into the fire right away, which, as with anything, especially like being a player, you can learn as you're going, and that's only going to serve you better for when you're later in your career.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely tough, but hey, I'm doing it so far, and I'm working the best I can, and all I care about is how my kids perform, and that's my goal at the end of the day. So
Nice. So to kind of talk a little X's and O's, like what can you just share a little bit more about like being a defensive guy? Like what are some of your defensive philosophies and maybe some coaching tips that you want to share with the audience?
yeah, so for me, my first thing that I kind of introduced whenever I was first coaching, I was a big cover 3 guy, a big field blitz kind of guy. where if the ball's on a hash, because in high school football, the hashes are the widest they are in all of sports, right? As it goes to college, it gradually gets narrower and narrower. And the NFL, I think it's only about like 8 yards between two hashes. So I was really hung my hat on being able to, if a ball is on a hash, the strength should be towards the field. I'll bring any kind of blitzes from there. Sometimes drop that weak side end in the boundary, have different field blitzes. That's kind of what I did when I first started. Then when I went to my Wellington, I kind of did the same thing. I kind of coach that I had there was a 4-2 guy. I'm a 4-3 guy. And then when my last coach, Coach Mendoza, came in, he taught me a lot more about cover two, having a cover two shell and rolling into those blitzes. And I think that's kind of what I'm more leaning towards now is being able to, because in Florida, where they pass the ball around a ton, and going into a cover three, a lot of times that leaves you open to kind of having the seams. Those flats are open. And if you're in a cover two, it's more of a sound defense and helps your defense kind of work together. And for me, mainly, as long as your guys know it, it's not really what you know as a coach, it's what your kids know. And for me at Wellington, I'm blessed to have smart kids, right? I can throw my kids anything at them and they get it right away. So I've been blessed to have that around me the past 3 years at Wellington. And I like to blitz. I like to kind of sit back and protect. But for me, I think as long as kids are attacking, that's the big thing in high school football, right? You don't want kids waiting. You don't want kids on their heels. You want them coming downhill, trying to make a play and attack the ball and push the offense back, because that's really the name of the game. The name of the game is trying to defend your end zone and not let the offense gain the yards towards your end zone. So,
Yeah, got it. And going back to maybe like earlier in your career when you were more so like cover three mindset, what advice would you give yourself back in those days when you were just starting off?
man, I think that when I was trying to originally, when I first did it, I was so dead set on cover three. And I also tried to do a lot of man. I think I would have told myself, I wish I would have known more about cover two. Wish I would have kind of understood, because that's what I did in college as well. So I kind of leaned on what I did in college. I think if I did cover two more, we maybe would have been more sound, because there were games where we kind of got blown out because we weren't coached well enough when it came to them, a team that we passed. When a team was running on us, we did great. But in Florida, like I said, they passed the ball around, and I was not used to that. Being a defensive end slash linebacker, I was more used to teams that would run it, and I was all about that. I wanted teams to run the ball. But when it came to passing teams, we kind of got handed to us a little bit. And I think that if I wish going back, I would have been more too heavy, been more four heavy, and let my team know what cover two was, because I really did not do that at all at the beginning of my career.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, hindsight always 2020. So
Exactly.
yeah. Got it. So any other words you want to share with the audience as we're on here?
Yeah, I mean, just for coaching, like I said before, as long as you are learning, like I said, I'm only 27, but I think that you could be 45, 50, and you're still learning the coaching game. And that I hope that coaches will see this and let them know that they can reach out to me, reach out to anybody around them. And I'm always trying to help coaches, and I want to be helped as well. So if they hear anything that I could do better, if they hear anything that I need to could help me out as a first year head coach, I would love to kind of talk it up. If they ever want to hit me up on email, text, Twitter, whatever that is, I'd love to kind of talk it up and spread my coaching circle, because that's what I'm all about. At the end of the day, we're all high school coaches. We're trying to make better men at the end of the day, and X's and O's helps us, but as long as we get them in the right path, that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. 100% agree. So yeah, and that's the same thing here. You know, that's our goal, is to spread the word, help high school coaches help their players. So Coach, thank you very much for taking the time. And it really was a pleasure talking with you.
No problem. Thank you again. I appreciate it.